My name's Lindy Cowling. Welcome to my channel. My website is www.lindycowling.co.uk. My email is info@lindycowling.co.uk. And the title of this short video this evening is The Space Between, or the infinite space between. So what do I mean by the space between? During the course of our journeys, we come out of different pages of our experiences into other pages of experience in accordance to our personal spiritual evolution. And sometimes we come out of not only pages, but we literally come out of one book and start a new one, hence the expression, a new chapter of your life, or a new chapter of one's life. And we enter, if we are willing, if we are choosing on a soul level, on the level of our spirit, to listen to our soul and to move forward, we enter as part of that evolution a space in between two states of our evolution. So, to simplify, as we come out of the old way of doing things, the old perceptions of our lives, the old perceptions of who we are, the old perceptions of the world and everybody else, and we start stepping forward into an understanding of who we are and what the universe is about and what life's about and life's experiences, we reach a point at which there is almost like no man's land, like the space in between. Some people describe this almost as like an emptiness. Some people describe it as being lost, feeling lost. Some people describe it as the void. Many people describe it as the feeling of knowing that they are changing within, and that they are stepping into a new phase of the human experience, guided by their soul, guided by their spirit. And they enter this space between and almost always find that space in between very uncomfortable. Not everybody finds that space uncomfortable, but the majority of people do, and myself included. The reason being, the human personality, the human mind, the human ego very much likes to know where it is going, very much likes to have an idea, even, the concept of being in control of the experience, in control of the journey, and of course to a certain degree, according to one's personal decisions and personal choices, there are certain elements of control, and yet there are other elements in the bigger picture that are outside of our realm of control, almost within the divine arena. And in this space in between two states, when I mean in between two states, I mean the state of coming out of the old perception, the old awareness, the old state of consciousness, the old experience, the old idea of who you were. I mean, I'm just really simplifying it here. and then not even the anticipation, the already knowing and the intuitive guidance, and you could say higher self guidance, divine guidance of the changes that are happening within, the changes of the state of consciousness within, the changes as a result of one's own personal heart evolution. One enters this state of realizing that everything is open to the possibility of change, and the concept of that can be very exciting for many people, but just as much, if not more so, very frightening. And whilst it remains a concept swimming around there, there is a space which can last for weeks, months. It can even run into a few years, or it has been, based on the old trajectory of how things have been playing out, running into that length of time, where people know they want to step into something new, and they may even have ideas and concepts of what that is in terms of relationship, in terms of personal lives, in terms of their jobs, careers, lifestyle, all of these things. But they're not sure where to start, how to start, where to move, how to meet the person, how to meet the people, how to meet the community. And so they feel a bit lost, because they have some of these ideas swimming around in their consciousness, and yet they feel like they're not quite ready, or the circumstances aren't quite ready, or okay, they feel the opposite, they feel fired up, but it's like, oh, I don't have the finances in the bank to do this, to make this move, or I'm not meeting people, so how can I meet my soul family, or a divine connection, or you know, they get to this stage where not everything is lined up, and although they've got the ideas swimming about, it's like, well, where do I start? The point at which one starts is firstly to not panic about that stage of no man's land, that infinite state of the space in between two states, and two states of consciousness actually, and to realise that actually that is part of the process. It's not that something went wrong and then, oh, you're going to miss your window of opportunity because you're not quite sure how it's going to come together, or you can't quite see round that bend of how this is going to happen. It's for a purpose. That purpose is to allow you firstly to assimilate that energy, to recognise that the old is falling away, to come to a state of not just resolution with the old falling away, but the transformation of the energy from the old, because it does not and cannot go forward in the other side of the infinite space that you're in, because the other side of the infinite space you're in is a different state of consciousness. So you can't take the old packaging, the old baggaging, the old stuff, if you want to call it karma, that doesn't come with you. So there's an assimilation, a recognition of all of that, of coming away from certain circumstances, lifestyle choices. The physical is always the last to catch up. So doing it spiritually and actually doing it on the other levels is quite easy compared to, again, always, as in always in the human experience, the physical is the last thing to catch up. The practical moves and the practical things coming together, it's always the last thing. But it's also an integral part, the space in between, of healing, and in some ways you could say recovery from your experiences in the first state of consciousness. Assimilation, recovery, healing, transformation, another easy analogy which sounds very corny but it's very true, is again the caterpillar going into that space in between, you know, the cocoon or metamorphosis before it comes out the other side. It's very, very similar. That state in between sometimes can be with people and circumstances around you. Some people are driven to do it much more solo and much more quietly. It just depends on your own personality, your circumstances and your own soul's plan. But it is integral, and I would like to say almost like not to panic. I see it across the world, and there are elements where I've experienced it myself, where you know, and people know that more is coming and changes are coming, and they are itching to step forward into it. Most people, although equally if not more so, a lot of people are frightened to step forward into it. But then they have vague ideas, and some people have no idea what they're stepping into, but they just know they've got to step into something different, a new, well, it's not really the new them and the new you, it's the real them and the real you. But they think they must have done something wrong, because how comes it's not, I don't have all of it in front of me now, and it's all not happening now. This space in between is an integral part of it. It's not because anything goes wrong, it's just another stepping stone along that journey of a change to elevated consciousness. And it's a vital stepping stone of it because of the state of healing, the assimilating, almost like you could call it the upgrading, the rebooting, the foundations for going into the new. Also, it's a state of creation. So what I say to people, if they've been in that state for quite some time, to focus on any emotions that are keeping them in that state longer than they need be, and those emotions nearly always come from what's gone before, the old. If that hasn't been resolved, healed, transformed, having a look at what's going on there, why, if they're repeating the same thing going round and round, and that's delaying things and the time they're in that space. But also to use the space productively, because again, it's part of the process, nothing's gone wrong. Use it productively, because that's where you can start playing with the energy of creation. And even if you are not sure exactly what to create, then start playing with your concept of the energy of creation and playing with it. And the word I'm going to use here is play. Playing with it in a joyful, loving way. Even if you can't see what to create, it's like a ball of energy and you're not sure what to create with it. If you're coming from that playful, joyful, loving vibration, it cannot be misused ever. So you just, if you can't see, for example, oh, I'm not sure if it wants to be a house move, I'm not sure if it wants to be a relationship, or I do want all those things, but not sure of the details. They don't have to be the details there. It's just feeling the energy of you, for example, living by the ocean in a wonderful setting, or you already, arm in arm or something with a divine partner. It's an expansion on what we used to know of as manifestation, but it's an expansion of that. It's a higher frequency because it's creation. Creation always comes from the heart, and it goes back to being co-creative and creative source energy, cosmic energy, universal energy. So it's getting used to playing around with that idea, and it literally is playing, but not to be too stressed out or intense about it, but just getting used to playing with that idea and not panicking that space in between states of consciousness is going to go on and on and on. There are only a few reasons it goes on and on and on, and usually it's us that trip ourselves up, where we're not even meaning to, but we can hold on to something that is, doesn't need to be held on to anymore emotionally, and to be aware of that, but just use that space in between dimensions, to play creatively, get used to playing with the idea of creation in your workspace, in your personal space, get used to allowing the process of transformation, realizing that it is a stepping stone onto an elevated state of consciousness, so not to panic, and just to allow it to take its course, but at the same time recognizing if there is something in you that is still hanging on through fear or, you know, control to the old state of consciousness and everything that went with it. I hope you found that helpful. On that note, I will love you and leave you. Thank you for subscribing to this channel. Thank you for watching. Thank you for resonating. And I will see you again soon. Bye. Bye.